Okay, well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Petal Talk podcast. I am your host, Allison Crowder, and today we have probably the most special episode we'll ever have, because if you've been following from the beginning of this podcast to now, you would know Jenna's experience with IVF. You would know Jenna's experience with getting pregnant, pregnancy in general, and today kind of concludes this whole story, which is your birth story. Hi, welcome to Petal Talk, where skincare meets soul care.
Just so wild to think.
So welcome back.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to have you here. Yes. Can you believe that you have a almost 3-month-old?
I pinch myself every day.
I know.
It's like so wild to think just 3 months ago, like I was carrying this human. And to be honest, like she was like 7.5 pounds when she was born. So she is almost double that size.
Oh, yeah.
But even thinking back to 7.5 pounds when she came out, like that was inside of you. You know,
whole
as like
time.
a first time mom, you hear what people say, oh, it's going to feel like this, or oh, it's going to be like that. But in reality, it's like you really don't know until you know.
Right.
And it's just kind of like, it's a strange scenario of it being her being in, and then her being out, and going like, wow, that's kind of still a big baby that was like, in there napping and moving around. And
well, and you're also like this big.
Yeah.
And so
it was wild.
You were all belly, and
thankfully
she took up every inch of your womb.
Yeah.
Right? Like you couldn't have had a bigger baby, I don't think.
No, and thank goodness I didn't.
Yeah, no, thank goodness.
Because that would have been insane.
So insane. Tell us a little bit about the last couple months, and we'll get into this a little bit more, but like, how are you? How are you feeling?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
You know, I think I talked about this in the last podcast where people are like, just wait until this, just wait until this.
That's when I cried. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, and in hindsight, it's like, yeah, maybe their experience was that way, or just wait, you're going to be like stuck on the couch your whole pregnancy, or you're going to be puking your brains out the whole first trimester and into the second. You're going to be exhausted in the third. And I just kept waiting, to be honest.
I kind of did too. I'm like, what are we waiting for?
Yeah.
Because it seems great.
It was great. And so even in the last couple of months, like you asked, it was fine. It was almost as if it was the beginning. Like, yeah, like my lower back hurt more.
Sure.
She's getting bigger.
Right.
But I think keeping active, staying busy. My husband drags me to Disney every single week, which I voluntarily go because I love it too. But I think those just like little movements, right? Those little pockets of movements really did help physically. But what I didn't realize until like the tail end of it is it also really helped me mentally.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting out of the house. Because when you're in the house, whether you love your house, you have a small house, you have a big house, no matter what, if you're stuck in that same scenery for so long, which most people are in the very beginning and in the very end. And I think that's when your mental health is the most fragile. In the beginning, it is because it's all new. You can't do this, you can't do this. It's like almost kind of like your life is being stripped from you, but you don't have something tangible to see for it yet. Does that make sense?
It does.
Like, oh, you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that, you're not allowed to drink this, you're not allowed to go here.
And it's like kind of scary. It's like,
No,
is it going to stick? Is it not? Like,
you don't feel her moving.
Right.
So it's like all of these changes, but yet no reward.
Right.
Really? Because, you know, the bump is like the reward to dress the bump and things like that. So that takes a while.
Right.
Especially if you're smaller.
Right.
And then at the end, it's like, okay, well, you're getting near, so don't go too far. And you don't do this because this could cause labor and da-da-da. And so I feel like those two pockets are the moments where you could really go off the rocker mentally and physically. Because if you're stuck in the house and you're not doing anything, or you're put on bed rest, you're going to eat, you're going to sit there.
Right.
Then that's going to kind of slow your roll. Then your mental kind of goes into play. So I feel like, thankfully, I had a very healthy pregnancy. So I was able to still, because my life really didn't change.
No, I was just thinking about one of those last few times we went to Disney before you did have her. You were like at least 8 months pregnant.
Yeah.
Walking just as far as we were.
Yeah.
And if I was tired, I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, Jenna. Like, I didn't even, but so many times I caught myself being like, well, why wouldn't Jenna go? Or like, why wouldn't she? Because you were there was never a difference in your attitude or behavior or like drive. Like, yeah, you maybe had to take a couple breaks and like stretch out your hips, but like I'm like, I wouldn't even think twice, like, you wouldn't come, or like, oh, well, she's pregnant, she can't, because I'm like, nothing about Jenna changed at all.
And that
really
happens a lot too.
Right.
I see with a lot of cases of like people who have huge friend groups and then get pregnant, and then people just assume, right? Because I think that's just the norm from back when our parents were going through reproduction and like childbirth and things like that. Oh, she's pregnant. We don't need to invite her places.
Right.
Oh, she can't go to a bar because she's pregnant, or she can't hang out because she's pregnant, or we're going out and having a girls' night and drinking.
Right.
We're not going to invite her because she's not going to want to do that type of thing. And I think people need to stop thinking that way.
Yeah.
And it goes to show the same exact thing, and we'll get into it because we're kind of going across the journey. But when you have a baby, people just automatically write you off. And that's why they say like the journey is so lonely.
Yeah.
It was quote unquote IVF journey is extremely lonely because people don't like to talk about it because of the what ifs. You know, I was the complete opposite. I was very vocal. I let a lot of people in during that journey. Thankful that I did.
Right.
Had that support system, which then carried into pregnancy after we got pregnant, which then also has now carried into post birth, because again, our life hasn't really changed
at all. Yeah,
so
totally.
We haven't really pivoted. And so
especially since you've had her, I'm like, you guys are doing, which we'll get into, of course, but like,
so my mental for like the last couple of months, like I felt great.
Yeah.
And then going into like the last couple of weeks, the anticipation of, okay, when is she coming? You know, because again, you don't know, like, I'm like, what does a contraction feel like? Because I don't freaking know. You know, like you can like watch videos or hear people's feedback, but you don't really know. Are you going to
start screaming? Are you going to start crying?
Am I going to be like in Publix and my water breaks or something? You know, like what's going to happen? Like what's going to be my story for that? And with IVF, they automatically give you basically a date to go in and get induced.
I was gonna say, oh, you still got a story. Yeah. It worked out. Like you still got one.
So they gave me an induction date, but then, you know, like I've said before, everything was so planned with IVF. Yeah. So I kind of like little pockets where I could have like a normal pregnancy. Yeah. I kind of like,
you did take those,
wanted to take those into consideration and kind of grow off of those. So in my mind, my perfect story, I wanted to just like go into labor and have that excitement of like, oh my God, grab the bags. Here we go. Right. But that didn't happen. She was very comfortable inside of me. She did not want to come out.
Okay. So let's go back to the last time you were here was at I think either like August, September, kind of the tail end of the summer.
Yeah.
I think you were at the end of your second or the beginning of your third trimester. Kind of summarize the end of your pregnancy, what that looked like, and then kind of get into the end of January.
The end of the pregnancy was more anticipation than anything. I think I enjoyed being pregnant. Ryan would ask me like, oh, do you love it? And I'm like, I don't love it. Right. And I think a lot of women are scared to like say that.
Right.
Towards the end, I was like, all right, girl, like, let's get out of here.
Also so small.
I was so small and then so big where I was like going to the chiropractor twice a week.
Yes.
I was getting prenatal massages. So I think at the end I was excited to see her and meet her, but then also like in kind of a little bit of like just discomfort in the way like I was like, I can't get any bigger. Like we've got to like speed this process up, which is why I was really excited to kind of like, I was doing all the things like eating the dates. I think the only thing
when you started doing that kind of like too early.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
And then I was like, a moment I was like, okay, maybe I need to like not do that.
I just remembered that. Yeah.
I consulted ChatGPT a ton of like, when can I start eating this? How many can I eat? Like thinking that I'm going to have a
was it the dates
date
that kind of
scared me. But then I think it was just like coincidence that she was moving extra. Like shit, these things really work.
These are really working. It's crazy.
So then I like pulled back, but then towards the end, like Ryan and I were curb walking. We were trying to have sexy time, like
eating spicy things.
Like
I was teaching Ryan how to do like pressure point on
my feet. Yeah, we were trying to do whatever.
Right,
but in McNutt fashion, she was going to come whenever she freaking wanted to come. So that pretty much sums up the last couple of months. We went to St. Augustine like 2 weeks before.
It was so fun. Yeah, and Jenna's
waddling.
Huge, and we're just walking around for miles. Yeah. And then I'm pretty sure as well, your birthday Disney trip, what was, how many miles was that?
Oh, we did like 10 miles that day.
Yeah, it was
10
like
plus
insane.
miles, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I'm gassed.
Me and your brother were like tired at the end, but I'm like, bro, we did like a lot of freaking walking.
like, sorry, girl.
Wheelchair, anyone? Yeah. But I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I pushed through. Too. I'm glad like I had great people surrounding me through the process because, you know, you really can get into your head. Yeah. It's so easy to get into your head. And I'm so grateful, thankful, and blessed of like the life that we have and the jobs that we have because I always had someone near me being like, you got this. Like you're almost there. You've done great so far. Just like hold on tight. So any advice in the last trimester for anyone, you're literally almost there. Like try to make the best of it because that is your mindset going into having the baby, right? Like you could be here on a Tuesday and then have a baby on a Thursday. Right. But if you're in a funk for like,
you need to set yourself up for success as soon as possible.
And take the time for yourself. Like,
yes.
In the end, like be selfish, like go get that pedicure, go get that prenatal massage.
The prenatal massages seem to be life-changing.
Oh, they were tremendously. And the chiropractor, to be honest, like because my sciatic and everything, like it was just great. So, and then leading up into birth week, the end of January, I think my induction date was the 26th. No, induction date was the 24th.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went in on the 24th, which was a Saturday.
Yeah.
Brand new hospital.
So beautiful.
Which was really nice.
Yeah.
I was
very clean.
Very spoiled.
Yeah. Brand new. Everything was
I think
fresh.
There was like maybe 3 women.
I was going to say there was no one on your floor.
In the labor delivery on the floor.
Yeah.
It was like quiet, clean. The funny thing about it was like a lot of the nurses didn't like know where things were in the room, but like I felt confident. Like they knew what they were doing, obviously.
Very high security, if I may, as well.
Oh,
like,
yes.
Very, not like other hospitals. I've been to quite a few, okay? They just let you in. It doesn't even matter.
Right.
This one, no. You got to go through multiple people, signing forms, photos of you taken. And I'm like, honestly, this is kind of nice.
No,
because
it was really nice.
It adds a layer of no one trying to steal your baby.
Right.
You know?
And it was 5 minutes from the house.
Yes.
So even if we were to have like, go into labor beforehand, I felt really good about it. I just got really lucky location wise and everything. Yeah. So we get there. This is when like, cause I don't allow myself to get nervous or like super, super, super excited until like the moment of that anticipation is right there because my mental, I would just like spiral, you know,
you're very rational.
Correct.
And very realistic and very
I try,
like
because I have a husband who's complete opposite. So
you do have to, you're very grounded because he's all the way up here and you're down here.
We love you. So I think when I got like my little sticker of like, oh fuck,
here we go. Oh wait, I have to have a baby now.
I
have to push it
out. A baby. Yeah. So that was like wild. You go in, obviously this is not something people can prep you for because everyone's case is different. You go in and I'm not even kidding you, like 10 minutes after being there, they're like, we're in the room. We're in the room and they're like, all right, like here's your gown and like here's all your things. The funny thing was the lady was like, here's your gown. And I'm like, I kind of have my own. And she's like, okay, here's some socks. And I'm like, I have my own. And she's like, wow, you're really well prepared.
Like, yeah, and my own pillow and my own blanket.
Because and I didn't know at first, like you could do that. I thought you had to use all hospital things. And maybe in the past you had to, sterilization, things like that. But they let me use anything that I wanted of my own. And so that also made me feel very comfortable. So in my true fashion, I just like exploded in the room and I had this and I had my music and I had smells and I had everything to make me feel super comfortable. But I think it was also a great way to distract me of like why we were there. We were there to push a baby out. And so we just got right to it. They immediately gave me my IV. Like it was quick. And
this was at nighttime as well, correct?
Yeah, we went.
At like
induction was
something?
at 5.
Okay, yes,
at 5 p.m.
On that Saturday.
Yeah. So I just knew we already mentally prepped ourselves to like get no sleep.
Oh, you really were not in there very long.
No.
Yeah.
So they basically, because we were being induced, a baby was coming that night.
Yes.
It's essentially, that was kind of like the goal.
Yes.
I went and visited my OB that week to kind of see how I was dilating.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I got in, I was still 1 centimeter dilated.
I was just going to ask to share on that a little bit more.
And so that's kind of common, and so that's where like the magic Pitocin comes into play, because then that is what helps dilate your area to have the baby.
Mm-hmm.
And we checked me when we got there, still 1 centimeter.
Did it feel like anything being 1 centimeter?
No.
Yeah.
And so that's where I was just kind of like, again, like the anticipation of like, when are things
when's it going to get hurt? Or
when are things going to physically change, And, oh, don't cry, honey. Did she spit up all over you? Oh, Zara's in the background. Oh my God, it's all over your... Do we take an intermission?
No, I got it.
Oh my God.
Take her in here.
Okay.
She'll be back.
She'll be back.
That's
over
really
his
funny.
new outfit. Okay, so I'm like waiting for things to change. The anticipation is like killing me at this point.
Yeah.
Ryan's pacing. I'm like got the ball out, bouncing.
Right.
So what I learned is that if you are still 1 centimeter, they will give you, and I do not remember the name of it. I'll try and find it, and then maybe we could put it in the description. But they'll give you this oral medicine in your mouth first before they give you the Pitocin, because once they give you the Pitocin, like there's no going back. Like it needs to progress. Mm-hmm. So they administered the first round of the oral.
And that's what you had to put like in your cheek.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Nothing happened. They can give it to you every 4 hours, and they can give it to you only up to like 5 or 6 times. So they gave it to me 3 times over the course. And mind you, these create contractions. Mm-hmm. Like this is like the one step before the Pitocin. The Pitocin is like what really creates true like crazy contractions. This level like creates them to kind of get you going, and then hopefully your body takes over from there. So I'm having contractions, and I'm looking at like the screen, like we're just like staring at the screen basically to be like, yeah. And so into the night, like I got 0 sleep, which was, expected. Contractions were happening. They freaking hurt.
Yeah.
So then I try to like...
Is it true that they are like period cramps?
Yes, but like times 10.
Yeah.
And they don't stay, right? So it's like a moment and then they go away, and then a moment and they go away. But I was having them like every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And...
Was that what it was, like every 5 minutes?
Yeah. But they weren't like big, like huge, and they're supposed to get bigger, and they never really did. Mm-hmm. But they were painful. Mm-hmm. And so I tried to like stick it out. Right. But then like in the middle of the night, I'm like pressing my button, and I'm like, listen, like let's do some like pain relief. I didn't want to take, what was it? Was it fentanyl?
It was actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
They said that they could give me fentanyl or nitrate, the gas.
Yeah.
The benefits of the fentanyl is that it works pretty well, but it may slow her down.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily, it relieves my pain, but it slows her down from doing her job. So the nitrogen or whatever, not nitrogen, whatever the gas was like the better option. So I finally elected to do that. They come back, they don't have any.
Of course.
And because I wasn't progressing how they really wanted me to, I didn't want, they would give me the fentanyl, but I just didn't want to like slow her progress down. I'm like, I kind of just like want this to go,
that seems like really legit.
Yeah. Like we're now into like the next day in the morning at this point. And I'm like, you know what? Like, no, like I've already mustered through it. Like, let's just keep going.
Right. Well, at that point too, last night, like the night before, you're like, I'm just tired. I want to probably just sleep for a bit longer. Now it's like daytime, and it's like, I'll just suck it up because that moment has kind of passed. Like taking the edge off is over.
Yes. I'm bouncing on the ball. I'm doing all the things to like get her going. I had like in those moments, you don't really want to like eat, but I was hungry like the next morning. And so I had like an PB, an Uncrustable or something.
One thing about Jenna is she loves Uncrustables.
I love them. It's like just,
if I may.
I do love them. I do love them.
You do love
I do love them. I'm like a kid. Uncrustable. I'll eat like 5 of them.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. One day we were at Disney and they were giving them out for free, and I was like,
what? Oh,
Yeah.
that's so nice.
Yeah, it was
okay,
nice.
they're rich. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
okay.
Yeah, sorry.
So I had an Uncrustable. Like the nurses were coming in. I felt like they knew something, but like we weren't at a point where we needed to talk about it yet.
Sure.
I don't know. Like I just kept looking at Ryan and I'm like, I don't think she's coming out vaginally.
Okay,
Like,
let's also add that you're kind of like a week, your induction date was kind of a week early-ish, right? And as many
of
women
IVF.
might know, right? Your
So
first
39
one,
weeks I was.
yeah, and your first baby is oftentimes late anyway, and because your body's never done this before, and then
Right.
she's extra early, and then she's been doing IVF, so like a lot of these things have been chemically processed in your
Right.
body the whole time anyway, that it's like, it didn't really set you up for success.
no.
To get the chance to really go into labor on your own.
I think if we were to wait 2 more weeks,
I totally agree.
I think I would have been able to
I
do
agree.
it.
I do think
naturally.
you would have gone late though, regardless.
Yeah,
because I think that's just your nature.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of a bummer, right? Just from
was.
like on the outside of being like, dang, like she didn't even get a chance. Like you guys, and I get it. Like you need to be induced, but also reminding everyone if they didn't listen to the other ones, or maybe if they have, there was something wrong with Jenna. There was something wrong with Ryan. There was no issues other than like a very small, minute, like medical issue, right? So it's not like Jenna had infertility for 10 years and that's why. And so it was a bit more, Jenna was perfectly healthy. Ryan was 99%
best case scenario.
healthy. Yeah. So, obviously her being IVF is a bit of a different story, but I do think if they would have given you the chance, I
time.
think it would have been a little different.
They don't, but it is
Right,
what it is.
right.
So we're into day 2. She's not wanting to come out.
Yeah.
But with the medicine that they were giving me, I was having contractions. But what we started to realize going into it was they finally, because on the monitor, we asked them how to read it. And one line is her and one line is me. And so you could start to they gave us like a safe zone of like her vitals and then mine. And what we were noticing on our own, and then they confirmed it, was every time I was having a contraction, her heart rate was dropping.
Yeah.
Which she recovers quickly, but that exhausts her at the same time. And so with the rate at this point, 24 hours in, 4 doses of this medicine,
Right.
I'm still a centimeter dilated.
Right.
And so what they didn't want to happen was to continue to exhaust her just to have a natural birth.
Right.
This hospital was also set up as like, what's the term? Hospitalists. And so I learned that when you go into a hospital that is a hospitalist setup, your OB 90% of the time is not going to deliver your baby.
Oh, I didn't realize that was the word.
Yes. And so they have a crew on staff. They have OBs. They have everyone that you need to deliver a baby, but it's them, not your OB. And so I don't know, with the luck of like Ryan and I or whatever, my OB really, really, really wanted to deliver Zara.
Yeah.
And
she
so
was a G.
that only
We love this
happens
woman.
if like the doctor requests to say, hey, you need to let me know when she's going into labor because I want to be there and I want to deliver the baby.
Yeah.
And so
And that's got to make you feel special.
no, it really did.
And like comforted.
Right. And
Yeah.
she was being in the loop, like they remote monitor. So she was seeing what was happening, right? She was seeing that I was having contractions, but then Zara's heart rate was dropping. I was still a centimeter dilated 24 hours later, this and that. And so she came to the hospital. And I was very grateful for her being there because it's, again, you're in this huge room and doctors are coming in and out, people you've never seen before,
Yeah.
but you have to trust them
Yeah.
with your life, with your baby's life. And so it was kind of nice to see like a familiar face walk in the door. And then I think you came like right before she came.
Yeah.
And we were already kind of like mentally preparing ourselves for the next big conversation with all the doctors to be like, listen, you're not going to have a natural birth and we're going to have a C-section.
Yeah. I think a part of that had happened like 10 minutes before I got there.
And it's hard emotionally when someone tells you that because you have this like vision in your mind of like how you want to have a baby, especially your first baby, right? And I wanted to have,
And you put
I wanted
so
to
much,
push
like,
and I
work
wanted to
into
do
doing this too. And it's like, we're so close.
And I think Ryan could see on my face, like I started to get a little scared, right? Because when you hear C-section, naturally, if you don't know someone personally that's gone through it, it's a scary thing and it's a last resort, right? Yeah. You can't just be like, I want a C-section. Like something has to happen for you to be able to go in there and get that done. And most of the time it's after you've already been in labor, after you've already been
or something
pushing.
bad has happened maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like emergency C-section.
Right. Emergency, yes, right.
Not elect.
There's often not, elect
C-sections
options,
unless it's like
or something. Or like a VBAC or something,
So it started to sink in.
Yeah.
And then I think it really sunk in once you got there, which you were there just to drop
smoothies off
because I was freaking hungry. And then everyone comes in. And so the conversation was like, we could keep going, but I think we should just do the C-section. And I think that's when when everyone left, do you want a tissue?
It was scary.
It was so scary.
It was so scary.
Because nobody, I didn't allow myself to think about having a C-section the entire pregnancy.
Right.
And
I don't even think we talked about it ever.
No. And so then when someone's looking you in the face saying your baby is not a perfect baby right now and she's been perfect this whole time, we have to get her out.
Right.
Not an emergency to where it's like, oh my God, prep right now. Right. But it was like, okay, we're putting you on the schedule and you're having a baby tonight.
Right.
So it was exciting because the anticipation is kind of going away a little bit because now we have a plan. Now we have, and I'm very plan oriented. Yeah. But at the same time, I didn't do any research about having a C-section because it wasn't going to be for me.
Right.
But knowing that Natasha Spencer, my doctor, was there, she was going to do it. Obviously Ryan being there, going into the room with me, that made me feel good. But in my mind, I was freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
But I was trying to remain, my normal, nobody's going to know.
Well, also that one's freaking out.
Yeah. Right.
And so you're trying to be, you just naturally have to be the calm one.
I had to set the tone.
He is always not calm.
Correct.
And from my perspective, when that happened, he was hysterical. And it's okay, well, I have to.
When I'm sick at home, it breaks his heart, right? So now you're telling him that his unborn baby and wife are now going into a major surgery. Right. I've never had a major surgery being with him.
Right.
He's never experienced that. Right. And now both of us are going in and at that risk.
And it's right now.
Right now. You don't have a choice to really, there's no option.
We need to just agree on this right now. And
so we obviously accepted the feedback and we're let's do it because I had that freaking Uncrustable that morning. I had to wait another 5 hours for it to digest in my stomach.
It's so worth it though, I'm sure.
So we were on schedule for 5.
Yeah.
To go back 5 p.m. So then I'm sitting there it's 2:00 when they finally decide this, and so then you're just sitting there watching the clock this whole time, and then your mind is going.
What do? You're just on your phone.
I think that was the worst mentally that I was throughout the entire process.
Right.
Because I don't know, I didn't know what to expect.
Right.
I think my cousin had a C-section, but I wasn't really super close with her where I ever picked her brain about
Sure.
what happened or what's going on.
You didn't ever even let it be an option.
No.
We had talked about a couple things, but not a C-section. No.
So in walks in a 6'5" gigantic nurse man. And I'm hi. And I looked down and it made me laugh. It made me laugh because I'm I didn't see him at all. He was the anesthesiologist. Mm-hmm. And I'm oh, hey. And then I look down and he is wearing size 15 Uggs. I had no idea Uggs came in that size. And I just vividly remember that being okay, this is going to be interesting. And he was very because everyone on the team was so nice and bubbly. It's a bunch of girls, And this huge guy walks in, threw me off my rocker for a minute. And he was just so monotone. But you kind of want someone that's putting you under to like be very
like organized.
Yeah. And he could just tell like Ryan and I that wasn't our personality. So like before he left the room after he like gave me the spiel, he was like, just to let you know, I'm always like this.
Oh my God.
And I was like, yeah, because he could see that Ryan and I are like, are you having a bad day, sir? Like, it's like,
this is not the day to have
a
a
bad
bad
day.
day.
He's like, don't you worry. This is how I always am.
Oh, well,
and
great.
I'm thinking like, okay, this is going to be kind of like weird, you know, because he's explaining to me that like I'm going to be laying on this table and I'm going to be seeing his face the whole time. So I'm thinking like, can it be like one of these ladies,
these little teeny bopper
like,
girls,
keep me, you know, because that's the person that like you have to communicate to. So I learned like you have to kind of communicate to your anesthesiologist of like, how are you feeling? Do you feel lightheaded? Like you kind of have to like have this relationship with them, and they're hovering over you the whole time.
Right.
And I'm thinking like, great, just my luck. This whole experience has been great. This guy's just going to like freak me out. Like not going to be my vibe.
Right.
So he walks out. I get like dressed, hairnet. Ryan gets dressed, hairnet, whatever. And then he comes back in with a freaking speaker and he's just blaring music and he's ready to rock. He's like, you ready? Let's go. Let's do it. And I'm like, oh, okay. It's going to be a party. All right. So they take me back. I felt like I was in a movie, right? Because you only see like I'm in a bed. They're rolling me in a bed. Like I've never done that before, you know? Like I'm not like Grey's Anatomy right now.
Literally, yeah. That's funny.
And he's got Mumford and Sons playing, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be great. And then I've never been in an OR room awake.
Correct.
I was in an OR room when I was in like second grade because I had hernia surgery, but I'm asleep. Like you count back to 10 and you don't see it anymore.
Right.
This shit, you are awake.
Oh yeah.
For the whole thing. So they roll me in, mind you, it is probably like 55 degrees.
Oh yeah, they have
in
to.
that room.
Yeah.
Freezing.
Yeah.
So then you're naturally just like so tense because you're so freaking cold.
Yeah.
And so then...
Do you have a blanket on upwards, or is it just like your
It's
gown?
just like the open gown in the back. Like
were your titties out, or you just...
No, I was covered.
Okay.
And then like the
and then
gown...
the sheet, the cloth.
Yeah,
whatever,
so the gown is like open in the back. So they wheel you in. There was like 3 or 4 people when I got there. Over time, like I'm not even kidding you, there was probably like 22 people in the room by the time we got started. So he explains to me like, hey, we're going to move you from this to here. So they, or wait, no, I stayed in the bed at first. Then they gave me the spinal tap. Epidural thing, but I think it's more intense.
I'm sure it is
when you do a C-section.
I think it is a spinal tap actually. Yeah.
So because I basically had to like lean over into a nurse, and she was holding me in the front. She smelled so good though. And what was funny is this nurse reminded me of my childhood best friend, Shelly. She looked like Shelly as like an adult. Like it was so crazy.
That's cute.
So it like made me feel very comforted. I'm like, because even Ryan, I looked at Ryan, I was like, who does she remind you of? And he's like, Shelly. And I'm like,
that's crazy.
I know.
Oh, that's
so
cute.
I leaned into her. He tapped me like 3 different times with like a needle. I'm sure the needle was probably
and like the size of the straw.
I'm sure it was thick.
Did you feel it?
It was like a pinch. I'm maybe a minute later. They let it hit, whatever. Then they scooped me up. He goes, I know you're a married woman, but I've got to like pick you up. So now this guy's got jokes and everything. I'm like, all right, fine. This is going to be good.
Yeah.
Mind you, I'm still freaking the fuck out on the inside, but I'm like trying to hold my composure. I don't want these people to see me like, plus I knew I needed to keep my heart rate.
And also Jenna's a tough girl. She really is. But like,
thank you.
It's also scary.
Very scary. So he picks me up, and then slowly I'm like not feeling my toes, and then I'm not feeling my feet, and then I'm like, I'm starting to like not feel anything. It almost feels like everything's asleep, and then it's nothing.
Yeah.
So then I'm laying here, and then they put a sheet up where it's like covered, and then it's like clear at the top. And then that's when the people started piling in. And then they did roll call.
Oh my God.
They had to do roll call. I guess it's common. So they're like, the anesthesiologist is like the head honcho, and he's like, all right, everyone's ready, roll call. So then
nurse here.
Yep, here,
nurse,
here. And so at the end, I was like, here.
Of course.
The whole room started laughing.
I'm sure. That's cute.
And another doctor was like, we're going to like her. And I'm like, okay,
thank God.
Cool, thank you.
Because you're about to see all my guts.
Yeah. So the most the first thing that they did was iodine.
Yes.
But they take this like
Squeegee
stick with a huge squeegee on the top, like I'm a freaking car. And I can see a little bit over. At this point, Ryan's not in the room yet. Not looking, but like I could see her with it because it was so fucking big. I'm like, what are you doing? The weirdest feeling was them doing it on my stomach, and I cannot feel anything. But my whole body is moving, but I don't feel it.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Like, this is so weird.
That is a trip.
It's so weird. And then Ryan comes in, and I hear them say, "Don't look over, just keep looking straight." And I'm like, "Dear God, do not look over."
Like, no, really.
Look straight. So then he comes and they sit him down and they say, "Do not stand up." Like,
which
just
is
don't
a good
stand up.
rule for him.
I went in at 5.
Ryan is very squeamish.
Very squeamish. I went in at 5, and Zara was out at 5:30. It's so hard to explain the feeling of like them taking her out of me. Like, I could feel her leaving me, almost just kind of like, feeling
pressure.
Yeah, like
taken
pressure.
Off.
Pressure taken off. Because again, I can't feel anything
Right.
up to like my, almost kind of like just my boobs up. I could feel, but then down you can't. And I could feel her coming out, and they kind of like Lion King her over the top, and you can like see her, and then she starts crying, which obviously is like what you want.
Right.
I didn't really get to like see her again. It's just so much going on, and they try to do it so fast.
Yeah.
And then I could hear her like breathing. I could hear her like being brought over to like the place where they suck her gunk out and whatever. And then they brought Ryan over there to cut the umbilical cord because I really wanted him to do that. And he did get to do that. So that was really special for him. And then the whole time though, we've got like Mumford and Sons and like all of these like nice bands playing. And then Zach Bryan comes on. And right when that song started, it's Aubrey's favorite song by him. And I was like, oh my God, like, this is not how I wanted this to happen, but like everything like lined up to be the best case scenario for me. And I had just like bits and pockets of like humorous times and, you know, feeling like Aubrey was there with us and like then bringing Zara over, which I thought was so cool. Like you see it again in movies and stuff, but like they really do bring, because skin to skin was very important to me. They do bring your baby over to you, and like they opened my gown up and like let her sit there, you know, on my chest and kind of just like cry. And it was just,
that's your baby.
So surreal because for so long, even before we even got pregnant, like you just have in your mind, we had in our mind this child, and it's like, oh my God, like she's literally
like, this is
like,
it
right here. Like, this is it. This is what we worked so hard for. Like, she is here now, and she's healthy and she's perfect.
She's perfect.
And I just got like goosebumps, but like, it was just everything it wasn't supposed to be, but supposed to be at the same time, if that makes sense. Like, on paper, it's not what I wanted, but in reality, I would have preferred all of this.
Absolutely.
You know, I get the whole like pushing and experience and stuff like that, but like, I don't know. I was made for that. Yeah. I don't think I was made for that. I think that's why the universe gave it to me this way. And let me tell you something. I felt a little guilty at some point before recovery. Yeah. I was like, oh, I'm taking the easy way out.
Sure.
But in reality, honey.
No. None of it's easy, I don't think.
No, none of it's easy. And then the post with that is intense. And obviously we'll talk about that. But having that moment, and then they asked us, like, do you want Ryan to stay with you while they sew you back up? Or do you want him to go with her? And I was like, he needs to go with her. Because I made a promise to myself, and Brian and I both made this promise. The second this girl comes out, there's not going to be a moment in time where she's not going to be with one of us.
Absolutely.
Mind you, babysitting.
Sure. Yeah. But like,
out.
Yeah.
But like, she needs to be with one of us. Yeah. And so he went with her. And then they sewed me and everything back up. And they freaking put him down, put him in a room with her, and then left him. And I'm like, and he had like a moment of like, you know, he hasn't had a baby for freaking, 16 years. Yeah. And so he's actually pressed the emergency button in the room because he started to get flustered. He's like, I need some help. What do I do? What do I do? Because she was trying to suckle for like a nipple. She was hungry. But then they like wheeled me in. They had these like huge compression things that you have to keep on my legs. They had a catheter in me. Mm-hmm. They bring you to this room, which were you in the first room?
Oh, girl, I was there.
I was like there, but like, yeah, I was like there, but like,
girl, I was there.
Not there. So like, it was very much like a blur for me, to be honest. Like even like we try to like reminisce and like think about it, and I'm like, that was such a Twilight experience for me. Like I don't really recall every pocket of it. But they like put you back in the room that we were in to begin with, and we were there for like 30 minutes, maybe.
And when that happened, so whilst this happened, I was there for a little bit in the morning, and then I left for a couple hours after you guys kind of made the decision. Yeah. And then I came back because I'm psycho, and I was like, I just felt like I needed to be there. Yeah. I just sat in the cafeteria and read my book and just was there just in case we needed
I'm glad.
An outsider.
Because I love my family and everything, but like the decibel of some people in my family is extremely high. And so I don't need that type of energy.
Yeah. We just needed, moment. I was slinging coffees. I was running errands, like whatever we needed. But, so Ryan had texted me right before he went in, and then he had texted me right after she was out. And I think maybe when he was in that room, I'm not sure. Yeah. And then he had texted me and was like, you can come back up. And I met you guys in that same room. Mm-hmm. It was maybe...
I didn't feel like we were in there that long.
No, because by the time I got up there, I was only in there with you guys for a couple minutes. And then they were like, okay, we're leaving. And I was like, all right, I'm slinging bags all of our stuff because it was so quick still. And it was like, you got to get her to the other room.
We had like 6 bags.
Yes, you guys, you brought all your stuff and you had all your bags. And we're putting all the stuff in your bags. And then, they wheeled you... I had this like bellhop cart. Yeah. And that's where I put all of your guys' stuff. And then we took you to the...
Shout out to Allison.
Well, and then I get to see her like pretty early.
Yeah. You were like one of the first people to ever see her. I don't even remember. I didn't hold her.
Not you.
I kept saying like, I didn't want to hold her yet.
I don't think you really could. Like, I don't think you had that
because
much
I wasn't strength. I was still like,
but you did
Badoozy.
In the next room.
Yeah, in the next room. Yeah. But I think I remember Ryan asking if I wanted to hold her, and I said no, because I really wanted to just like, you know me, I just want to be like in a forever space first.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we go to the other room, and it was much smaller. Yeah. And it was much more of like a proper like hospital room. Yeah. And then that's when they started giving you all your stuff back. They started giving you your jewelry back, whatever. And then you held her. I don't know if that was your first time, but
I think it was
a lot of that time in there. And then I left, and your family and I like tag teamed because it was late at this point.
It was like 9:30, 10. Late. My brother was in town from Minnesota. That was the only reason why I wish I was able to do it differently.
Okay, no, I think you like literally did your best.
Cause like
what you did just.
I even like look back at pictures and I'm like, oh,
okay.
You no, I know, baby. But like, I wish I could have like just savored the moment of like gradual in, but I really wanted my brother to meet her before he flew back. So like they came in, but they were very respectful. They were there for like,
I think I was going to say they were not there very long.
And then they left. Yeah. I was literally peeing out of a catheter. I still had my compression boots on.
Right. Cause it was very uncomfortable either. Like I waited, obviously I was there for a while, but my time being in there with you guys was also no more than 30 minutes. Yeah. Like it was pretty quick. Yeah. Because also you like want to be respectful of like you guys having your own space, and like there's no way in hell like I was going to be like overstepping in that realm. But it also was hard. Yeah. When, they come all the way and it's your family, like they want to support you, but also it's like, please, like,
I need to breathe.
I want to be with my family now.
It was hard.
I just met her too. Yeah.
So that was like the 25th.
Yeah. That was 25th.
Yeah. Then that's when shit got crazy because they freaking come in like every 20 minutes, a new person. picking, poking, prying at me, at her. I'm a new mom.
Pushing on your stomach.
Oh my God, that was...
They did that one time to you in front of me and I almost started crying.
I think it's just like post C-section procedure to make sure, because mind you, it's 7 layers of skin that they are going through. Yeah. So they would come in and they would just fucking go ham on my stomach. It was the most painful part of the entire experience. I don't tear cry.
I gotta go
very often from like emotional, like happiness. I will, but like pain wise, I don't tear cry that often. And I was in tears every single time they did it. And at one point I'm like, how many more times? My guts are in there.
I promise.
They're in there.
Right.
We're good.
Right.
You know,
right.
That sucked. They were coming in every 20 minutes. They were asking me to feed her on the boob, but she wasn't latching. I'm having to measure my pee every single time I peed. I have to write it down. Every
but
time.
Something good happened that next day. Do you remember? Your girl brought you some sushi.
Oh, sushi. I got sushi. I waited 9 months to eat sushi.
Yeah. I'm like, so there was like a bit of a happy...
There was a bit. There was pockets where like I felt normal, right?
But it was also actually
chaotic.
Pause really quick. This girl is also crazy because they moved into this room. I had been gone for like 12 hours, maybe. I left at like 9. Well, maybe I came around lunchtime. It was like 11.
Yeah.
And I come in the room. Jenna's walking, hobbling over, cleaning things, wiping things down. I'm like, I'm sorry. Are you okay? What are you doing? And she's like,
it was a mess.
What? And I'm like,
what
do you mean? What do I mean? Like, sit down.
Yeah, I know.
I'm looking at Ryan. He's like, you know her. She doesn't want to sit down. I'm like, you're insane.
I know. And then I hurt like at the end of the day. Cause it's an incision from, side to side.
Yeah.
But they make you log your pee, log her poop. So a lady's coming in at 2 a.m. When was the last time she pooped? When was the last time she peed?
I don't know.
Freaking know.
I'm sleeping.
It was just so hard. And then they want you to breastfeed. Obviously, I wanted to breastfeed. Right. So then I'm trying to breastfeed. She's not latching. So then I'm freaking pumping and then putting it in a syringe. At this point, she only needs a few drops. So like I was fine with that. So I'm basically feeding her like a freaking baby bird. And then she's crying. And the only thing that helped her not cry is if she was sleeping like on me. So then I would let her sleep on me, and then I would keep my eyes open on the clock to know like when a nurse was coming back, and then I would put her in the bassinet. And the lady's like, "Oh, did she sleep with that?" Yes, she slept in the bassinet. But it was such a blur because you're not getting sleep. He's not getting sleep. I'm not getting sleep.
Right.
Zara's not getting sleep. Right. Into the second day of being there, we're kind of like in a groove minus the feedings. Yeah. That was still extremely stressful. They bring in a nipple shield where it's kind of like a silicone nipple that you attach to your nipple to kind of give it like this like erect style, kind of like a bottle basically. So then she's sucking it and there's like bubbles and things like that. So I'm like, okay, she's getting something, right? Yeah. So then I'm like, okay, well this could work, right? Then we start getting antsy. Yeah. And we're just like, okay, like
we have the baby. What else are we
we're
doing?
ready to go.
She's fine. I'm fine. Let's
she's
go.
Fine. I'm fine. Like, let's get out of here because we want to be in our own space. And there's nothing like people like hovering and prying and, I can't like fully be this like mom that I want to be with everyone freaking watching my every move or me trying to monitor my every move or her move. And it's like, the hospital is great, but like, I want to get out of here. So they came in finally and they were like, you are good to go tonight or you're able to stay the next day. And we're like, oh, we're good to go tonight.
I was
Let's
like,
leave tonight. Let's go right now.
Ryan had already packed the car.
Yes. We started packing the car that afternoon. So then that way, whatever was, we had our outfit for taking home pictures and then we were like ready to go. Yeah. And it was nice because again, the staff was wonderful. But we left kind of like at night. Yeah. So it was very quiet, very calm. The lady who like walked us out was perfect. And then you're in the car. Yeah. And you're like, baby. Shit. There's a baby.
What do we do?
What do we do? There's a baby right there. So then I guess that goes into like the next stage of like postpartum. We get home, introduce the dogs. They're totally fine. They were perfect with her. Go upstairs. And then it starts of trying to feed her. And again, a part of my story of like wanting to breastfeed.
Yeah.
Not necessarily of like have to, but like I wanted to.
Yeah.
I wanted her to get breast milk. I didn't want to formula feed.
Right.
And that's when, if I were to have stayed on this attempt journey, because I'm sure eventually it would have gotten better, right? But if I would have stayed on this journey, I would have been in a deep, dark depression. She was not latching.
Yeah.
I knew, because as she gets older, like her intake increases significantly every single day she's alive.
Right.
So she's no longer needing just drops. Like she's needing freaking food.
Full ounces.
Yeah. And I just had this feeling like I couldn't get the nipple cover on my own. So I'd always have to wake Ryan up to do it. And then having to switch sides, and one side was better than the other side. And then in reality, like I really don't know how much she's getting.
And then you like kind of had a little bit of mastitis.
Yes. And then she's screaming and crying.
Right.
We can't get her to sleep.
Right.
We're sleeping on the floor.
Yeah.
We're going in his shoe room and toy room because it has like these LED lights and we think it calms her. We're playing Zach Bryan on the phone. Like we're just beep bopping around, and we look at each other and we're like,
yeah. Like
is this how it's really going to be? The first 2 days at home.
Right.
Absolute newborn trenches.
Yeah.
And now then I understood. I'm like,
oh, this is what they're talking about.
8 weeks.
Right.
We're doing this for 8 weeks.
Like something's got to give.
No, I'm supposed to have a perfect baby.
Yeah,
Like this is not.
Right.
I don't want this.
Right.
Like this is where women I see now. And I was just, we were ready for it.
Right.
Like we worked so hard. If this is what the next 8 weeks of life is going to look like, that's fine. But like there was a pocket where like we were going at each other, and I'm like, why are we arguing? We're on the same team. But you are stressed.
You're so tired.
You're so strung out.
You are like healing. You can't walk.
The only positive thing that happened in that 48 hours was having food from you that I could just nuke in the microwave to eat. But even at that, I like really wasn't eating that much. And it was pure hell.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because you have...
Because 12 hours before it wasn't.
Beautiful baby.
Right.
But you hate life.
Right.
You have this amazing husband, but you hate him.
Right.
You have all of the things that you need, but none of it's working.
Yeah. Right.
None of it's working.
Right.
The sound machine isn't working. None of it is working. So at this point, we were scared.
Yeah.
Because we also have companies. We're not checked out mentally.
Right.
You know, we had a 2-week window to basically have Ryan in this newborn baby bliss. And I'm like, this is what bliss is.
Right.
This is why people are freaking crazy.
Yeah.
And this is why they're desperate. And this is why I see on TikTok all these mothers filming themselves holding their babies, just bawling their eyes out. And I'm like, there's got to be something different. Right. And so it was one afternoon in the middle of the day. And I was at the point where she wasn't latching. I was hand pumping. And at this point, she needs a lot of milk. So I go downstairs. I'm like, screw it. I'm just going to syringe feed her so she can get something, because I feel like it's the food that she's not
hungry.
eating. Right. And then I was tracking all of her bowel movements. She went 24 hours with no poop or pee. That's when I was like, okay, syringe it is. But then I'm downstairs with 20 fucking syringes.
Right.
And then I said, screw this.
Yeah.
Screw this. I'm not doing it. So I dumped all of those in a freaking bottle. I popped a bottle in her mouth. And it's been
bliss,
pure bliss and happiness.
Yes.
Literally from that moment.
Right.
Literally from that moment, I have had...
She was hungry.
She was starving.
Yeah. Right.
My baby, she was hungry. She was hungry.
She was needing some food.
The moment we started bottle feeding, from that moment on, the most perfect baby I could ever ask for. She was hungry.
No problems.
No. And so you have this pressure of like yourself, of every mom wants to breastfeed. No, I don't think, unless you have already like said in your mind, like, I'm gonna formula feed.
Right.
You know? Then they pressure you in the hospital, and then you go home and you're pressurizing
can't even leave
yourself.
unless you've met with lactation.
Mentally, I was good, right?
Yeah.
But then if I knew, I just like saw a flash before my eyes. If I continued this journey, maybe 3 weeks from now we would finally get a good latch.
Yeah,
and
but then you're never going to catch up from the last 3 weeks.
No, and then it's just going to be like this. So I'm so grateful that we were both on the same page of like, wait a minute. I don't care.
That thing that we got at the shower?
I don't care how she gets the milk from me.
Right.
I just want her to get it. So
Right.
we're going to bottle feed.
Right.
And it's going to be pure happiness. Because guess what? Now Ryan can feed. Now you can feed.
And I do.
Now my mom can feed.
Right.
Everyone can feed her, which then relieves me in moments.
Sure.
And then that fills my cup up to be able to fill everyone else's cup up.
Absolutely.
And so that was like the biggest epiphany that we had was just bottle feed.
Yeah, I remember when you called me and you told me that you were doing that, and I was like, honestly, as you should. They make those for a reason. There's nothing wrong with not, and you're not. And I think it's the same ilk of like C-section, breastfeeding versus not. Like
Everyone's journey is
IVF
different.
versus not. Everyone is like, if you don't conceive naturally, have a vaginal birth, breastfeed, then you're like a bad mom. And that's just
you're not doing it right.
true.
No.
At all.
No.
These other things have come to fruition because they're necessary. IVF is very necessary.
Yeah.
C-sections are very necessary. Breastfeeding and bottle feeding and formula feeding are very necessary.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter.
No.
All these different avenues. And
Oh, it was amazing because
it's
even
so
now,
interesting to watch. Yeah.
even now we were talking about it the other day and I'm like, breastfeeding, commend. I sit here
Absolutely.
and freaking clap to anyone who's
Yeah.
breastfeeding. But honey, you don't get a break.
Right.
Like we couldn't continue to live. And I think,
Right.
again, everything happens for a reason. We manifested so freaking hard that when Zara comes, and this may sound crazy to some of you, Ryan and I will always come first.
Right.
Our life and our happiness will always come first. Zara will always come second. And that's something that is just always going to be a thing. Because if our structure isn't proper and correct and in tune, then whatever she's absorbing is not going to be the same, you
Right.
know? And so breastfeeding just doesn't align with that.
Right.
Because again, you can see how much she's eating in a bottle. It's 20 minutes.
And it's quick
It's
as well.
done. Whereas some people, the babies fuck around on the
Yeah.
boob, man, and they're just eating for 45 minutes
Right.
on one boob, and then you got to
Right.
switch to another boob.
Right.
And then it's like, he can't go and take her to Comic Book
Right.
Wednesday.
She can't come here all day.
No.
And that's not okay with me.
Right. So it's like, again,
Right.
it happened in the
Right.
moment.
Right.
I felt like I was failing.
Right.
But fast forward, and I'm like, that was the best thing that's ever happened to
Absolutely.
me. Same thing with the C-section. Same thing with the induction. All of it. It's
Absolutely.
all happens for a reason, and everyone's birth story is so different. So, like, if you're pregnant right now, honestly, your birth plan should be show up,
Have a baby.
have a baby,
Go
have
home.
it be healthy, and go home.
Totally.
Like, and that's going to go into like the next topic. I think is crucial to talk about is overthinking
Yeah.
the baby.
Yeah.
Yesterday, you asked me, you were
Yes.
like, and we talked about it later on last night. Does she like have a nap schedule? Like, does she just like, do you have to like put her down at a certain time every single day? Does she have her bottles at a certain time every single day? In short, the answer is no. I'm totally against the grain on that. Does she have her naps? Yeah. She has 2 morning naps.
Right.
She has an afternoon nap and she has a late evening nap.
And this girl sleeps
And
7
she's
hours a
sleeping
night.
Right, she's sleeping right now in the middle of all of this.
Right.
I don't put her down in her crib yet. She doesn't have to be in a cold, dark room. She doesn't even know half the time what a sound machine is. Sometimes I use it just for like me.
Yeah. It is nice.
For my peace of mind, you know, at nighttime, we don't use that at all.
Yeah.
Maybe during the day, randomly.
Yeah.
She has a pacifier sometimes.
She kind of hates it.
Yeah.
She
She kind of doesn't like it. She likes the, and she
always
likes her
does
hand.
that. Yeah.
We go to Disney
A lot.
whenever we want to.
She's sleeping at Disney.
Last night we were out bebopping around until 10 o'clock at night. She took all of her naps on the go, like in her bassinet. It's just, again, living the life of Zara entered into our life.
Right.
We do not stop that for a baby. She was out of the house 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
At 2 weeks, we were going places.
I'm pretty sure even less than you started coming here.
Yeah, and then we went
Yeah.
to Target naturally,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah, of course.
And then Disney. She went to Disney at 2 weeks, which again, on paper, people would shame me. Go
Yeah.
ahead, shame me. I don't care.
Let's clip this one.
We just hit the ground running with her, and so then that's all she knows, right?
Yeah.
You have to remember, babies don't know shit.
Right.
They know what you expose them to,
Right.
what you teach them.
Right.
If you're from the beginning stuck to the house for 6 months because you have to have a strict nap schedule and she has to be swaddled, straight jacket, mitts on the hands,
Right.
sound machines,
Right.
Noise machine, all these
Blackout
things,
curtains.
then that's what she's going to need.
Right.
She's going to have to need that
Kind
naturally.
of like her whole life too.
Well, yes.
Right.
Because
That's how she was taught.
that's how she was taught.
Yeah.
But if you don't do that from the beginning, like I had a friend message me the other day. I've never really talked to her in the past couple of years, but she was like, I'm about to have a baby. You're inspiring me that I can still have a life after my baby.
Like, yeah.
And I'm like 100,000%.
Yeah.
But you have to start it off that way, right? Yeah. She's like, oh, we're going to the Keys 4 weeks after she's born. And I'm like, great. Expose her to it.
Yeah.
Take her. Go. She's going to have to learn to sleep in different places. She's going to have to learn to be in environments. I would much rather be able to push my baby around a massive crowd and have her not budge and fall asleep than fight her nap all day.
Absolutely.
Because we want to go and have some fun.
Also because it's the same premise too of like, then you're just gonna be miserable. Like
again,
especially this one being in the house all day, there's no way.
And then that's where people's marriage
Yes.
goes to shit. That's honestly, that's where the women just like want sexualizations with their husbands. Like they don't want it. Even after they get cleared after 6 weeks, they don't want it because they're exhausted. They feel like shit. Like, honey, I was getting my nails done 2 weeks later.
Oh, yeah, she
I was getting my lashes done 2 weeks later.
We were still going out, hanging out. Jen was still in her diaper.
I've literally had like 15 girls' nights.
Oh, I know. We'd be taking Jenna out.
I went out and partied.
Yeah. Like not even 2 months.
No, I
think it was like 6 weeks.
I got white girl wasted.
I think it was literally 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And I said, Mommy's out.
Mommy is out.
We're going crazy.
But like you have to.
No, for sure.
You totally have to.
You both do.
And you have to lean on the other person and you have to find a good mojo. And I remember way before I got pregnant, before I even started IVF, one of my hairdressers was like, have a schedule. Like in the sense of not the baby necessarily, but you and your husband. Like you take her these times, like these
shifts.
days. Yeah, shifts. Have shifts because you will need to sleep and he will need to sleep and da-da-da. And so that was one thing where in the very beginning, when she was getting up every 2 hours to eat, there were 2 nights a week because that's all I needed.
Yeah.
He gave me 2 nights a week where I had 8.5 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
I had it in the beginning of the week and at the end of the week because once I got it once, then I was good for a couple of days. And then he would take her again. And that really helped, like having a good partner to be able to do that. And I know not everyone does that, but also at the same time, like not every wife allows the man to step it up.
Yeah.
Like, yes, his job is to maybe go out and like make sure the bills are paid and make money, whatever, in your standard home. But they are capable of taking care of a baby
too.
It is his baby too.
Right.
Let them feel like they can help. Like let them feel like they can take care of the kids because then you're setting yourself up for failure because I think that's where like the baby and feeding is, I think, and with breastfeeding, unfortunately, they don't get that bonding experience. But in the first couple of months when the baby is eating every 2 hours, that is all they care about. They are a sack of potatoes elsewhere.
They're sleeping.
They are sleeping and no emotion, no nothing. All they care about is who is feeding them. And I feel like they build that bond of like survival of like, okay, this person is feeding me. This person is feeding me. Okay, they are my life. They are my whole world. So by having him be able to be a part of that, I think grows into the relationship that they have today, which she's freaking obsessed with her father.
Yes.
Me too. But again, we have our moments where it's like he takes care of her a lot at soothing at nighttime when we're at home and I'm kind of the caretaker during the day and she gets to see him in the afternoon and it's just, we have a good...
You do.
We have a good
really do.
mesh.
And it feels very fair, right?
Very fair.
It feels very like realistic.
Because when
and
I'm
fair.
looking at him and I'm like, take her.
Yep.
I need a minute.
Yep.
There is nothing to where he's like, I can't. I don't, he's never said that.
No.
And
same with you either. Like you both have been
very
and
good.
you both are always have been good about kind of meeting the other where they're at. And I think this is no different of you guys both being able to allow you to flourish in that area without it feeling like bitter or like
like whose
judgy.
responsibility, right? Like you are responsible for doing X, Y, and Z, and I'm responsible for doing all these other things. That way we understand our roles, right? So if you're not responsible for vacuuming, and we didn't discuss who's responsible for vacuuming,
right?
We're both going to resent each other because I'm going to be sitting here thinking like, oh, he's Why is he not vacuuming?
Right. I'm with the baby. Or
Or
whatever.
like vice versa,
Yeah,
you know? Well,
right.
no one talked about who's supposed to be vacuuming.
Right.
Okay, I'm the vacuumer.
Right.
So I'm going to vacuum.
Right.
So you don't have to think about it. And, you know, taking the trash.
I was gonna
you
say
know,
the trash,
doing
yeah.
all of these other
Cleaning
things.
out the cars.
It sounds silly.
Right.
But because you can resent
Oh, yeah.
very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
But if you don't have that conversation, that may sound silly in the beginning of like, who's vacuuming?
Right.
You know, you need to
Yeah,
understand
but that's
that.
the last thing you even want to think about when
No.
you're in those moments.
But maybe it's just me. I've seen a lot of videos where people are like, screw the dishes, screw the house, like enjoy your baby. Listen, and I'm probably going to be cummed at for this. My girl likes Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Okay. That's how I get the dishes done.
well, you're alone all day.
She's not sitting
What
there
are you
watching it
gonna
for
do?
7 hours.
Right.
She does not have it outside the house
Right.
unless she's wailing her ass in the car,
Right.
which
Right.
that's a new thing. She's fine going in the car seat, going to do something fun.
Yes.
Cutting the fun off, putting her back in the car seat, going home. Sometimes it's a bit of a struggle. But, and Ryan reminds me, because sometimes I'm like, oh, she likes Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. She likes the TV show, like already, you know? And he's like, Jenna, you were put in front of the freaking TV probably all day.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, yeah, Barney was like my
For
jam.
sure.
She's fine. She's learning. It's great. She loves
Well,
it.
and it's for like 1 hour.
max.
It's like not that
But-
serious.
I have to have a clean house.
You have to still be able to function and
Yes.
live in like a
My bed
sanitary
needs
environment.
to be made. Bottles
need to take a
be
shower,
washed. I
like-
need to shower. Who
Do your hair.
cares?
Who cares?
And that just comes circle back around of stop overthinking
Yeah.
how to have a baby or how to take care of a baby. It's really not that hard. You just let the baby mesh into your life.
Yeah.
Don't reverse it, you know?
Yeah, I
Because then it's
totally
going to be a
agree.
hard thing to break.
Yeah.
When you think she's old enough to then join your life.
Right.
But it's like, wait a second. She didn't get to join it for the first year.
Yeah.
What makes you think she's now going to mesh into your life now? You know, you have to start early.
Absolutely.
So, but I'll shout it to the mountaintops because I don't really care. But like, I have the most perfect child.
She is literally perfect.
The most perfect child.
She looks perfect. Her behavior is perfect.
She cries maybe for a 3-minute period of time when the baba is warming up.
Let me tell you though, but when that girl's hungry, that girl is hungry.
Yeah.
She gives no warning.
She gives
It is
no warning.
Silent, and then it is screaming.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I'll go get it right now.
She sleeps through the night.
Yes.
She'll have a bottle like 11. That's the
She's
other thing
so
is like
smiley.
I do not put her down at 7:30 and expect her to sleep until the next day at 7:30.
Yeah, no.
I want her to hang out with me. That's a long chunk of time with me not having her. I'm going to be selfish, damn it. She's going to hang out with me on the couch.
Yes.
We're going to play. We're going to do all the
Right,
things.
right.
You'll go to bed when you're tired. You're going to zonk
And she'll
out.
fall asleep when she's tired.
She self-soothes
Yeah.
already, and she's only 3
Oh,
months.
for sure.
So I think there is no blueprint.
No.
We are winging it every single day.
Do you still feel like a teen mom?
Oh my God. Yeah.
I know we've talked about that before, but I feel like you're also a teen mom.
Yeah. I do not feel like I turned 34 this year. I do not feel
It's also crazy that you're 34.
anywhere
I feel
close.
like you and I are the same age.
I do not feel anywhere close to that.
You're really? You're 33?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wait, I'm like 6 years older than you?
Yeah. I always feel
Isn't
like you're
that
the
wild?
same age.
No, we're not the same age.
That's crazy. Kind of.
I feel the same. I can still feel like I'm 20 years old. So yeah, I
Yeah.
do have these moments where like still 3 months in, I will probably say it to Ryan at least once a day. Like, we have a baby.
I say that all the time
We have
too.
babies.
I'm like, you made that.
Pushing it around and I'm like,
And we get to keep her forever.
this is ours?
That's the best part of this whole thing
I know,
is
and
we
you
get to have
try
her
like,
forever.
Stop saying like I can't wait. I've
been
really
trying to.
learned to be like I love this moment. It's
Or
going
I
to
look
be
forward
It's
to.
going to be so exciting when
Yes.
because she's so much fun right now.
I know. She's so smiley.
So much fun. But can you imagine? Excuse me. You can imagine.
I can. Pulling on you and like
Oh
being
my
silly.
God.
No, I can't wait.
It's gonna be
I
so
just
much
said it.
fun.
I can't wait. No, I mean I can wait.
We'll wait. We'll wait.
We'll patiently wait because this has been so fun too. And she's just so happy to see you.
Oh my
and she's just so smiley and she's so, I've said this to you so many times. So I've never been next to a baby this up
Often,
close.
yeah.
And every day. Well,
Yeah.
not every day, but like multiple
Almost every
times a
day.
week. Yeah.
Yeah.
And get to see the growth. And I always say, like, I hate Friday to Tuesday because it's the longest stint I don't get to see her. But even those 4 days, she's grown so much. She's changed so much. And it's so cool to see week to week to week. And that's why I understand why 6 weeks is different than 10 weeks is different than 20 weeks, because there really is such a big shift in those milestones. And
really
even in the last couple of weeks, her really being familiar with her tongue and her hands, and like she's so happy. And even this morning when she woke up, she was so smiling with me for the 2 minutes she was awake. And I'm like, this is so crazy, because 2 weeks ago you weren't as doing like this.
No, she wasn't very like expression.
Yes. Yeah. And now yesterday and today all smiles with me. And I'm like,
could you imagine if we had to like drop her off at like a proper daycare though?
Absolutely not. No, I'm the daycare. Absolutely not.
We think about that all the time. And I constantly, like, Ryan was like, we will do whatever it takes in life to like never have to like go to a job.
No.
Like a job, like a 9 to 5.
I cannot.
I feel so bad. Like now that I have the baby, right?
She would have been at daycare for a month already.
And that's where I get where a lot of moms are like, I'll quit my job and just stay at home.
Yes.
Because the thought of...
I don't know how they do it.
We've left her like what? Twice?
Literally 2 times.
2 times. My mom will come.
Both times. And those are also very recent.
Yes.
Those have only been within the last month.
Correct. And I miss her.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But like knowing that she's with someone that I know, like that obviously helps. But the thought of like being forced to have to like drop her off somewhere, with not knowing how they're treating her, like what she's thinking. Does she think I'm going to come back and get her?
It's so sad. I know. No. And that's why too, you see like, we talk about on TikTok, like these clips of these moms that are like, I'd rather just take the pay cut. And it's like, that's so crazy that you have to justify, that way. Your salary to stay home. Like that's devastating. Like that should be illegal.
It should.
I can't even imagine her being that small and being with strangers. Like,
it's one thing when
it's
she's
like traumatic.
Older. Yeah.
I don't.
And she's not going to do public school or anything like that. Right. So like, and obviously the life that we've created and worked so hard for, like I'm like
accommodates for
really reaping the benefits, with a kid in the mix, because she will never know life without one of us with her. Thank
or me,
the Lord.
Or me. I'll be there too.
Yes, of course. And it's such an exciting thing. Like it's exciting so right now, but like it's going to continue to be exciting.
And I know we already talked about this the other day, but this year her really getting every holiday, obviously being born in January, right off the rip. And I am deeply looking forward to being the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny and whatever else.
It's exciting to see her at this age to go through all of it. And then next year when she's like walking and talking and like gets to go through it kind of like for real, like this year, I didn't take her to see the Easter Bunny this year.
Right. Cause
I'm like,
she's 3 months old. Right.
She doesn't freaking know what that is. Right. Like I'm not going to stress my life about little things like that. As obviously this year, as she gets older, like we will be going and
she's
doing
going to
all
go see
those
Santa
things.
this year for sure.
But just kind of like doing it in our own way, like not hyper fixated on the more traditional style milestones, just kind of like letting her figure it out on her own, letting us kind of figure it out on our own, reminding us constantly like we're doing a great job. She gets a lot of love, a lot of attention.
Jenna, she's spoiled.
She is.
She does.
I try to convince Ryan that she's not spoiled. I'm like, this is just a good life.
She's spoiled, Jenna.
What does that look for?
The girl's spoiled.
She is spoiled. But like, that's called doing your job. I don't fault that by any means. Like, hello, but I mean, she do be needing to lay on the chest quite a bit.
Into the podcast real quick. But the other day, Jenna's dealing with if she gets enough attention, and I'm like
crying in Target.
I'm like, girl, this girl does not lack attention on any form or any area.
No.
One thing we didn't touch on,
good though.
Yeah,
it is good.
One thing I did want to we're gonna kind of rewind really quick. I just wanted to touch on it because I didn't know is just like. What reminded me of it was the cost, right? The cost of childcare, the cost, the sacrifices financially that you have to make, right? Like she was already an IVF baby, so she came out in debt.
She's expensive.
She's an expensive baby. But then, the hospital bill.
Also expensive.
It was $90,000.
And Jenna has excellent health insurance too. Let me just
$90,000 to have her.
Plus her IVF.
She was like $150,000 baby.
Yeah, she better be perfect. Yeah.
Isn't that wild though?
No, it's sick.
We need to reproduce and we need to have babies, but yet you want to smack me with a $90,000 hospital bill?
I remember when you got it and you called me, you're like, guess. And I'm pretty well versed in medical bills. I'm like, like 40 grand, 50 grand. I'm like, you're going to see something, maybe 60. No, that's insane.
90,000.
And then you get to see it all itemized and it's like $80 for a Q-tip, $60 for a towel.
That's why they come into your room so many times, because they get paid every single time they come into your room.
It's so sick.
So wild. Anyways,
I know.
I thought that was insane. Obviously, like I had really good health insurance.
Yeah, Jenna did have excellent health insurance.
But people who don't have health insurance or people who don't have the best health insurance, like that's just so wild.
Also, how did it go from like it used to be free and you just like did it in the woods?
In some countries, I think it is. Yeah.
Really?
We're the most expensive to have a baby.
Well, of course.
Insane. All in all, though, it was not what I wanted on paper.
Right.
From the beginning.
Right.
I mean, from the very beginning.
Right.
24 years old, meeting a guy with 2 kids already who has a vasectomy, not promised to ever have a baby of my own. Like, that's not what I signed up for. We did a podcast about that already. That's not what I needed in life.
That gives me goosebumps because it's so crazy to think about how everything can change in 10 years. It's almost 10 years for you guys.
This year is 9, yeah.
That is insane. Okay, so less, 8 years.
Crazy.
Your entire life, his entire life, it just shows you how crazy life is, and
you can't
always changing.
Always
nothing
changing.
is permanent.
No.
That which is good and bad. Yeah, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes that's, thank God, because it's stressful, but also like at any point, and I think you guys do a really good job of it's your life. You get to take control of it or you don't. And that's up to you.
You have to pivot.
There's just so much life to be lived. It can be so full if that's what you want.
But I think a lot of people try to live off of paper.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do.
9 to 5, normal husband situation. I think we met through friends and then whatever. Like, I think that's just not the realistic choice always.
No, you have to be flexible. Mm-hmm. You have to be optimistic. You have to... Yes, you can have your paper plan.
Sure.
But be ready to fucking crumble it up and throw it out the door. And then be acceptive of what's going to happen.
How miserable are you going to be if it's not that, right?
And that's why we have the high divorce rates.
Right.
And that's why we have stressful marriages.
Right.
And that's why we have moms yelling and screaming at their kids in public.
Right.
Like, that's because adapt to it.
Yeah.
Who cares? I had a bottle spill everywhere in the middle of the aisle at TJ Maxx. If that was my mom,
oh yeah,
or our past generation's parents,
not good.
Freak the fuck out. Like, I mean, even
or the dogs at the breast pump,
even disciplining,
your
kids. Mm-hmm. I will not be spanking you, Zara. We will have
you're too perfect.
Serious adult style conversation about why you did this.
Yes.
Why it was bad.
I just realized at some point she's going to be naughty.
Oh yeah, she will be naughty.
She's Ryan's daughter.
But we will be having a conversation.
Yeah.
We will not be putting soap in the mouth.
Yeah.
We will not be...
Or like this torturous hot sauce on the tongue.
We will not be getting the belt or the wooden spoon.
Yeah.
We're doing it different.
Yeah.
And I think the majority of our generation that is now having babies are doing it differently.
Now.
Like Ryan had to pick his own switch.
I had to do this as well.
And
my dad would give me like multiple options and I would get to pick my weapon of choice. I'm like, I'm so scared
but now. I'm thankful for the traumatization that like we went through because then we're highly fixated on not repeating that again, you know? So you're welcome for going through
you're welcome,
the shitty moments of childhood to now become the best version
you're right
that we can for them.
Right.
And it's just, it's so exciting because like every day is different and like we have Aubrey and Peyton who are like super excited about her and like, you know, that they kind of mesh in, and even their mom is like super supportive and excited. And like everyone is just, Zara has a big cheerleading squad.
She got
already.
a lot of eyes on her.
She has a lot of friends and family that love her. Like
it's going to be
even
hard for her
the ultrasound ladies at Kicks and Wiggles.
They love her.
They wait we bring her every month.
People
they wait
at Target, the
Target,
baristas,
literally.
at Starbucks.
Ryan went in the other day at Target, and they were like, "Where's baby?" Like, what is happening?
My child.
She has no idea.
No, she really doesn't.
But I think that type of surrounding, people who are like not expected to support and surround her, are there now supporting and surrounding her.
Right.
It's just going to be an endless amount of just good vibes. So
yeah, absolutely. And she's not going to be able to get away with much because
there
are people in every corner
of this town. You're going to know. Sorry, are you supposed to be here? That's crazy
because I know your mom and dad, and no, you're not. But like, if you ask your auntie, I will do whatever you want. So you can come find me.
We've already accepted the fact that, and we also have already accepted the fact that like, she's never going to do as bad as
there's no way
Ryan and I have
There's
done.
no way. No, there's really no way.
There's nothing she's going to get past us. And so I think that style of parenting, I'm already prepped for, to be like, girl, you better get a little bit more creative.
You think I was born yesterday?
Because I was not born yesterday. And, honey, I did all of this and then some.
Well, especially, I was going to say, especially between you two, but like,
Yeah, she's not going to be able to get away with much.
No,
but the thing is she's going to be able to experience it without
the judgy
parts of it. It's
absolutely.
like, that's expected. And that's the style of parenting that Ryan already kind of has with Aubrey and Peyton, and as well as myself and Tabitha. Like, you're going to do it.
Right. It's unrealistic to just assume that they're never going to do bad things.
They're not going to live under a freaking in a bubble.
And they may even do things that they don't even know are wrong, right? Like, and then what? They're in trouble for forever now, and they're like deemed as a bad kid because they didn't know. It's their first time living too.
It's their first time, and that's what you have to remind yourself. Like, as your kid gets older, it's like it's their first experiences. They don't know better. Like,
and their world is so small. They don't even know it yet.
Yeah.
Like, my mom used to tell me that when I was in high school all the time, and it used to really bother me.
Yeah.
I would come to her with boy problems or cheer problems and be like, oh my God, it's crazy. And she would say to me, I know this feels really big because at this point, this is the biggest thing that's ever happened. But I promise you, like, make a smart decision, because I promise long term, you're not going to feel like this.
Your first boyfriend and you break up, you think your world is over.
I'm like, thank God he broke my heart because he kind of sucks. Like,
thank
seriously.
You very much.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm grateful that she used to tell me that, because I've been thinking about that in my life now when things happen. And I'm like, you know what? This feels really big because nothing bigger has happened. But if I've already gone through these other things, I'm going to be fine.
Yep.
Way to go, Tammy. She had some words of wisdom. Thank God. Okay, well, if you could give one piece of advice through all of this to a new mom, maybe to your friend that's about to give birth, or like someone who's maybe a couple weeks before she gives birth or a couple weeks after, and they come across this, what is one piece of advice that you'd give to that like newborn trench kind of mom?
Don't listen to anyone.
Yeah. That's good.
Literally. Do not listen to anyone but yourself and your partner. Do your own research.
And like in your gut,
It's a mother instinct. And I never understood that until it happened, right? Babies are not complicated. We overcomplicate them. We are fixated on having the perfect schedule. We're fixated on having an app for this or an app. Like, he's going to laugh at me right now. I begged and begged and begged for an owlet sock.
I was going to ask if you've used it yet.
No.
Yeah, I don't think so. I asked him the other day if you guys were going to use it.
I think I might use it when I put her in her crib at night to sleep for the first couple of weeks, maybe. Yeah. After that, the apps and the trackings and this and that. If you're pumping, invest in a good freaking wearable pump so that you can keep life on the go.
Yep.
Get good bottles.
Get a good stroller.
Get a good stroller.
It's worth it.
Good stroller. Yes. Live your life and just mesh your baby into it. Take the trips.
Do a diaper raffle at your baby shower.
I have not yet to buy a single whiteboard diaper.
Yeah, do that.
But truthfully, don't listen to anyone. Nobody is going to have and know what your experience is going to be like.
Right.
Nobody.
Right.
So listen to yourself, listen to your gut. Do not overcomplicate things.
Absolutely.
If she freaking sleeps in the bed with you for the first couple of months, fuck it.
Yeah.
Let her.
Right.
Be safe with it.
Right.
Do the guidelines. Let her sleep.
Right.
Because when she sleeps,
I can sleep.
you sleep.
Yeah. Right.
You know? And then just make time for yourself and for your partner.
Absolutely.
Because you guys are the ones that are molding and projecting the energy off to the baby. Because when you're stressed and you're angsty,
Absolutely.
she's going to be stressed.
When you get flustered, she can tell.
Yeah. 100% because she goes off of your feelings. She goes off of your heart rate. Yep. She goes off of all
your
those
temperature.
things.
Yeah.
So take the trips. Take the self-care moments. Do things together. Don't live your life of like, oh, we can't do this yet because we have her. We talked about it yesterday. I've never once been like, oh, I wish we could do this. We're going to do it.
They're literally going to Hawaii in a few months.
We're going to do it and she's going to come with us and it's going to be fine.
Right.
And if we need to step aside and handle something or do whatever.
Right.
I freaking changed her in a bassinet on a sidewalk yesterday.
Did you really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
So I'm like,
hey, what else are you going to do? Right. You got to just adapt.
Just wing it. Adapt. And don't listen to anyone.
And
like literally listen to nobody but your doctor. And even at that.
Yeah. But we ain't ready for that combo.
It might get us canceled. Let's just say Zara has not been pricked, poked, or pried. She's had a natural cough and cold.
Yep.
For a couple of days. Her immune system is being developed and she's adapting and
happy, healthy girl.
Yep.
The most perfectest girl that we've ever met.
I would show her, but she's asleep.
Yeah, she's sleeping now. Because she do be sleeping. Or is she
No.
Oh.
What?
Actually, or no? Like she's awake or she is waking up?
It's happening.
Oh. Right on cue. What a diva. Do you guys want to meet her? Oh my God, you guys match.
Be careful with the mic.
Oh, that's our girl.
Oh, baby, it's still
Oh. So that's Zara.
Hello.
She's the best. I know she looks like she's 6 months old. She's barely 3 months. She's perfect in every way.
You ready for your interview?
That's our girl. Oh my gosh.
Hello, honey. It's called a microphone. There's Auntie Allison.
Hello, baby.
There's Auntie Allison.
She's like, girl, how we doing? She's literally perfect. She is so well-mannered and
She is.
adjusted, and she loves fun nail art. She loves looking at her nails.
The world better be ready.
Oh, for sure.
She's going to do something big.
I just love her. I literally could just start crying. I always catch myself, I mean, I'm sure you do this too, just staring at her.
Oh, yeah.
24/7.
Yeah.
I don't know how to not just stare at her.
What is she doing?
Hey, girl. She's like, yeah, I'm ready for you to hold me.
Like,
Yeah.
I just woke up and I'm on the stage.
Yeah.
I'm on stage.
Yeah. So from IVF to now, it's been
A year and
a half, right?
Year and a half.
Yeah, right. The spring of last year. It's so crazy.
Here we are.
And it was all worth it.
It was.
I would do it again. I know it wasn't me, but I would do it again.
This will be our one and only.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe.
Too much hype. No. Too much hype on her. Too much hype.
Yeah.
She has 2 siblings already.
Yeah.
We're not going to start over.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
She deserves all the attention.
Thank
Yeah.
God. Because we have quite a bit to
all
give.
about her.
Yeah.
You know, could you imagine?
See, Jenna, that's what I'm saying. She is spoiled. It is all about her.
No, she's not.
But like, that's okay. Like, that's okay. Well, what else? Anything else you want to add? Anything else you want to share? Any,
There's never going to be a right.
God.
There's never going to be a right time for you to feel like
Right.
it's time for you to have a baby. Whether that's, emotionally or financially.
Right.
You know,
You just figure it out.
Just figure it out. Do a freaking diaper raffle. Mm-hmm. And just call it a day.
And I think also be okay with letting people step up for you. Yeah. I think that's something that you guys have gotten to see, which you maybe haven't already like always experienced. But I feel like a lot of people have really shown up for you guys. And I think that that's cool to watch.
Yep.
That is a big yawn, my guy. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for having me back.
I'm so glad that we're doing this because it all worked, right? The first episode we talked about you starting IVF. Mm-hmm. Then it was being pregnant, and now you have a baby, and it's just so crazy that
it's here.
She's here and she's perfect, and
she's here.
Hopefully some moms that are listening can take some stuff away, and
I hope so.
You know, just feel empowered because it is so beautiful and it is so empowering, and it's all fine. It's all good.
It doesn't matter. At the end of the day,
right?
She doesn't care what you're wearing. She doesn't care about anything other than
if it's formula, if it's breast milk,
if it's care.
No, it doesn't
matter.
Her
the love.
Yep. Just love her.
Just love her.
Just love her.
Just love her. Yeah, sweet girl.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us on another week.
Bye.
We'll see you later. Bye.